we hold on to moments of success that no longer serve us. Letting go of the ashes and then letting go of the chairs was so symbolic to me. So I would ask you, what is something in your life that represented success at one time? My dining room chairs, right? Being able to get those chairs, and then had to be released because that success, that purchase, that thing that made me so happy wasn't serving a purpose anymore.
Are you ready to get on the board? Welcome to the Get Off Go podcast, where we're here to share our stories, other people's stories, and just getting up and going, whether that's in business, whether that's in personal growth, and beyond. So today we want to give a quick shout out to Riverside FM. This is our go-to crystal clear podcasting program. So what you get with this, you get studio quality audio, you get 4K video, and very, very simple editing. You guys know I'm in the editing game. This is one-click editing. It's a game changer for podcasters who are aiming to have professional-grade content. You can film it on your phone, and you can engage more with your guest and stress less about if it's being recorded or not. So check out Riverside FM for an unmatched podcast experience. The link to get started is in the description below. Make sure to check that out. We have a special link for you guys. But today we have a firecracker in the building, and I am so happy. You guys are definitely going to be entertained. So, but more importantly, you guys are going to be inspired to get off go. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm introducing to you Peggy Delano. Thank you for being on with us, Peggy.
Woo!
Welcome.
Thank you. Firecracker,
Yeah, that to say the least.
I hope I live up to it.
Yeah, well, anybody that would describe Peggy as a firecracker for sure. Peggy is actually one of my clients in my social media business. She runs a huge network of people, and she is in the real estate. Do you want to go ahead and just give like a little background on yourself, Peggy, and then we can jump into our questions?
Okay. Sure. Well, I've been in real estate for over 30 years. I've been coaching for over 20. And the last 4 or 5 years, I transitioned from being a CEO of an franchise company and went into working at EXP. And I work on the Gene Frederick organization, and I am his head leadership coach. And I have so many opportunities to meet with people just like you, to be connected. And I'm a connector. I want to get everybody to know you guys, and I'm here to help you in any way I can. And I'm all about mindset. I'm a true believer in mindset, that you can overcome anything. And we can talk about that a little bit later on something that happened to me last year that I astonished myself and, well, all the doctors around me. So
yeah, I'm so excited to dive into that. So let's kick this off with the first question. So just like every episode, we ask all of our guests 5 questions. And the first one that I would love to start with is, what is one piece of advice that you would give someone who knows that they're destined for more, but can't seem to find their path?
Oh, that is something that my coaching clients come to me all the time with. And the funny thing is, I don't care how successful you are. I struggle with it. You struggle with it. We're always coming to that crossroad of, am I doing the right thing, or how will I know? You know in your heart. And if you can't find that, get off go, which I love. If you can't seem to get off go or get out of jail card, you need to find someone who's accountable with you. And when I say you got to find someone who's accountable, do not ask your best friend. Do not ask anybody in your family. Go to someone who cares and also is going to tell you the truth. Because so many of us get stuck in the same place, but we really don't want to get out of our own way. So who do we go ask? We go ask everybody that's going to fill us up with, oh yeah, this, these stories that are in our head and things like that. So I would say find a coach. If you can't get a coach, find someone that's going to be truly honest with you, and be honest with yourself. You've got to start right with yourself, and then go to people who aren't going to blow smoke up your know what. just to tell you what you want to hear because you're never going to move forward. You got to break down to break through.
Yeah. And just so you know, Peggy, we speak French on this podcast too. So feel free to
Oh,
Oh, I'm fluent.
yeah, yeah. We
I was trying to be very good. And then I'm going to say what I really wanted to
do
say.
it.
Get the fuck off your ass.
There you go.
Stop talking to the people who are going to tell you what you want to hear and blow smoke up your ass. Because you're going to be stuck. You are never going to move forward. And you have to stop listening to that self-talk in your head. We all do it, but we all go, even for advice. We go to the people that are going to give us the answers that we want to hear. And
Right.
how well is that serving you? I don't know. Not well.
Yeah, one thing I've really been working on this year, being in the music industry, is not being a yes man. Because I deal with a lot of people who are like, not the best in that realm. So that's awesome. Could you tell me a little bit more about what you're coaching and dive a little deeper into that?
I would love to. So I have been coached myself for many years. And I believe if you're a coach, there's a lot of people out there that are saying, oh, I'm a coach. And that seems to be the trendy thing right now. Everybody's got the word coach. So when I talk to someone who says, all right, tell me a little bit about your coaching. Well, I want to go back to the experience that I've had, the success that I've had. But what are some of the trainings, what you invested in to really say you're a coach? I've done NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming. I had to write several papers, 30 of them almost, and take a 3.5 hour exam to get through that, to get that certification in a 4-day training that was 12 hours a day. I've done landmark coaching. My previous company was, they poured into us with coaching. I used to be a CEO, team leader for local franchises for Keller Williams. They gave me the best education. Even though I'm with EXP right now, they poured into their leadership teams. So I can stand behind myself and say coaching, and I can back it up. The whole thing with me is that when you are coaching, I didn't want the coaching style of how many appointments did you do? How come you didn't do it? Did you do your 10 people new contacts to your database? Blah, blah, blah. No, that's where you're stuck on go. My coaching style is to get fucking real. I want to know what's holding you back from doing that. I want to know what happened to you when you were X and you got stuck because you're carrying a story forward with you. So my coaching, and I don't want to scare anybody with what I've said with that, but my coaching is more of a style where you're going to direct me and I'm going to bring you back in. But I'm not going to be the coach that's going to stand there and say, did you do your mailers? Did you make your calls? Did you? Because we all can do that, right, guys? That's pretty fucking basic. I'm the coach that's going to find out what's holding you back. And so we do a real deep dive on that. I also have fun with my clients. A lot of my clients have become great friends. And so I want to offer coaching, and I do bring accountability in, but I don't want you to be afraid of the accountability. I'm not the coach that if you don't do your assignment, I'm going to hang up on you and say, I'll talk to you next week. Text me when you have it done, but you just, lost your hour coaching that you're paying thousands of dollars for. So I'm more freestyle and I kind of mold it to where you're going, but I've got the training to back it up too with the certifications.
I'm kind of curious because I remember I had a life coach and his name was Ben. I was in a place in my life where I was in car sales and I was just looking to grow a little bit. And hired Ben out, and me and Ben had a lot of similar conversations like me and BJ have, in the sense that there's times when BJ's telling me things, but I don't necessarily want to hear them. You know what I mean? And it's like a certain level of growth, and there's a certain level of humility that you need to hear things about yourself that you don't like, right?
Right?
I remember there was something that Ben told me, and it just hit home, dude. He was like, hey man, when you're on a call or like when you're like in a room with people, like sometimes you're so small, it feels like you're showing up like a boy instead of a man. And I was just like, damn, bro. like, it hurt, dude. It really
It
hurt.
does.
And like, I didn't talk to him for a week, and like the next time I did talk to him, I basically told him to go fuck himself, right? And I told him I'd show him how much of a man I really was if I ever saw him. You know what I mean? But it was it was an uncomfortable truth about myself that like somebody needed to challenge me on, and like I was super like I don't know. I'm talking about it today, so there was some kind of impact on it, right? So eventually, like a lot of the things that he said, they were hurtful, they sucked, but they impacted me to grow and they challenged me to grow. And I was just curious because it sounds like you've been doing this for 30 years. You're so passionate about what you do, but obviously what you do is going to come with a lot of uncomfortable conversations. And I don't know how and you're dealing with people, right? And people have ugly parts of themselves. How do you cross that boundary when you're just getting to know somebody and there's also money involved and you also care so much about your job? Like, what is it about you that's inside of you, or what is something that you've grown to be able to handle those challenges that come with your job?
Okay, that is an awesome question. And we could talk about that on the next year of podcasts. It has to come from me, and I have to believe it. And I've had to have those very uncomfortable situations that you're talking about. I've learned those hard lessons. And I think because I've experienced that, I know that if I can, like I said, break you down, and I don't mean that in a, bully way. That I'm not here to bully you. But let's face it, when you're paying a coach or you're just really serious about getting to find out about your life, you're going to have some breakdowns. So because I've gone through it, a lot of times I would say, hey, Sean, you know what? I was right there with you. And if I keep talking about this, I'll start to cry. And I'm being real serious. I will cry with my clients because I want them to know I'm not book smart. I am book smart. I'm very book smart. But you can be book smart all you want. If you're not fucking street smart and you don't have the experience to back it up, get the fuck out.
I told you guys. I told you. You're going to love Peggy, dude. She's a
I like
firecracker.
Peggy.
So that's what I bring, and I'm dealing with a lot of shit just like you guys are. And I talk about that. And because I bring, when I'm coaching with people, it's not about me, it's about you. And if I have a life experience that I believe is going to help you, I'm going to bring it up to show you that, I'm going to tell you, I am going to be 67 years old. And I am like looking at life. I'm proud of my age. I love where I'm at. I've been through hell and back. My husband was an alcoholic. He let out in my arms as he was dying. I have lost my parents. I didn't have my father talk to me. I had some issues with male babysitters growing up. I mean, I've run the gamut. I'm real. And that's what you need is real. Too many other coaches, and I'm not a therapist. I've been to therapy. One of the smartest things my mom ever did was when I was 10 years old, she sent me to Yale Child Study Center. I mean, that was a cool thing back then. And I think when you really are dealing with someone's like John, you got pissed, right? You got really pissed. But because you got pissed, he didn't walk away from you. He was there standing next to you, waiting for you to become ready. And that's where I come from because I have so much passion. I want to get real with you. I want to show you that no matter what happens, we can get through it because I've probably been there. If I haven't, I know somebody who has. So I'm really happy that you got angry. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying. I'm happy that you got angry. And I love the fact that you're sharing this story because this is real. And the impact that it's had on you is life-changing. And how many years ago did that happen?
That was about 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago.
That's probably a pivotal point in your life, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's something. It's something I think about that program and just kind of the lessons I took away from that a lot.
So if you're not taking away lessons and if you're not thinking about things after the conversation or a few years down the road, I don't know. That's fluff coaching. I don't do fluff.
Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
That was the best
Yeah.
way to answer the question. Yeah.
Uh,
So that
okay.
that leads us to a great moment. And you told Sean, like, hey, that was a pivotal moment. That kind of leads me to our next question, which is always question number 2. So can you share a pivotal moment when you felt stuck on go and in your life, whether in your life or your career, whichever one, and how did you navigate past that? I know you've probably had a few just based off of me knowing you. The floor is yours.
How much time do we
We've
have?
got as much time as you need. Yeah.
Oh, I want to tell you guys, I'm going to be in true transparency and authentic self. You sent me the questions, and I started to read them. I said, fuck that. I don't want canned answers. I don't want to know what the questions
Yeah.
are.
Such a Peggy thing. Once you guys start to know Peggy, that's such a
You know,
Peggy thing.
I wanted to replace Barbara Walters growing up. That was my whole thing. Communications is what I went to college for. My background is TV, radio. My husband was in the industry for over 40 years. So, this is definitely kind of my thing. And what did you say again? I'm going to start to cry. The moment of when I got stuck and go, a pivotal moment. Um, This past 365 days, a little bit more, it's probably 465 now, almost. I had a brain tumor that I didn't know I had, and I'm fine. And I was able to come out of it without any problems with it. So I think the past 365, 399 days, whatever it is, has been one of the most pivotal times in my life. Every time I think I'm pivoting, I realize it's just a little pivot. It's kind of setting me up for this massive explosion of a pivot. So when I got my brain tumor and I didn't know anything about, there were no symptoms, there was nothing, I was blessed, whatever. I had to make a decision in that hospital room that I was either going to give into this, because when I had it, I didn't know how I got it, what the outcome was going to be, nothing. I pivoted and said, I will not let this define who I am. Now, obviously, they still cut open my brain. I mean, they still, I got a little, there you go, right up here, got a little scar going on there. But I made a decision that I was going to wear my own clothes right away. I made a decision that I was going to be out of there within 48 hours. I made a decision that I was going to do my Wake Up Wednesday Zoom from intensive care. So, yeah, I ran the show. I had my playlist on in the OR. I told the doctors, do not shave my hair because I've been going to the same hairdresser in Connecticut for 40 years and I paid buco bucks for this. And when you decide in your life that you're going to take control in a major, major, major situation, now we all have pivots, but this to me was really a life or death pivot. So I said, I'm not going to go by the hospital rules. I'm going to put my own clothes on. I'm going to work when they're telling me not to work. Now, Ashley is also a client of Brent's. She's not on here, but she was there for me. And, she had to set up some guidelines because I was the person that wanted to just keep going. So that was a moment in time in 48 hours where I needed to say, this is my life. I will go by with what medications or this or that or certain things. but it wasn't even more of a pivot. It was a 360-degree out of control spin that I could have gone in a totally different direction. I could have been on a pity pot. I could have been doing so many things. So that was really big for me. I have other things where I pivot where a flight gets delayed or, gets canceled or, you get a flat tire. I had a pivot one day a couple of months ago. I was at my home in Florida. Well, I didn't get gas. I literally shut down traffic in Cape Coral for 2 hours because I got stuck on the bridge. Okay? Here I am running out of gas on a bridge, 2-lane bridge, going from Fort Myers back to Cape Coral. And you know what I did? You'll appreciate this, BJ. I got out my phone and I went Facebook Live. And I said, because, I want to give you something more than a brain tumor, okay? That's an extreme pivot. So I'm going to bring you back to a fun pivot. So I ran out of gas. I'm sitting in my car. I can't get out of my car because, and I got to tell you, nobody stopped. 2 hours honking, swearing at me, everything, Here I am thinking, oh, I'm in my car. Maybe somebody will stop and help. No, they didn't. So I said, okay, what am I going to do? I called the gas station or called my, Cadillac people on Star to get gas. And then I went Facebook Live and I said, this is a life lesson. And I showed the view and I said, I got 2 choices here, folks. I can either be pissed off that I ran out of gas or I can just sit here and wait and just enjoy the view and talk to you guys and say, when life shows up, pivot, do something that you normally wouldn't do. So that's a long way around. I have lots of pivots.
I love that. And the second lesson in that, for all of my clients watching, you can film content anywhere. But that's, yeah. So get out there, film your content, even if it's on the bridge. But I think the bigger lesson in that too is like the gratitude portion of it. Sean is my gratitude friend. When I call him and I'm in a bad mood, which our conversations are 2-3 hours, same, all 4 of us, like I talk to you all individually. Peggy and I will be on the phone for 45 minutes at a time. Joe randomly, whenever, it's just like, hey, here's what's going on. Like I got this deal, whatever it may be. But I think it really comes down to, especially in that situation, it comes down to gratitude. Like, oh, I haven't had this. I've never got to stop on the bridge, and look, I'm usually afraid to just sit on the bridge.
Look at the view.
Look at the view. How amazing is that? Yeah.
I just imagine being in traffic driving and seeing Peggy standing outside like, hey.
Yeah. These dang millennials.
Three quick things. It took 2 hours to get gas because even though the Cadillac dealership was like only a few miles away, seriously, guys, the fucking traffic was stopped.
Oh, I could, yeah.
The guy trying to bring the gas to the car was unbelievable. A cop on his way home had stopped just to, he put his car to flashers on for me. He and I stood, we talked. Then the actual police that OnStar called, by the time they went over the bridge and came back over, and I filmed them. I did an interview with them on the bridge, which I have. I did an interview with them and I went Facebook Live with them talking about, okay, what else has happened in your day today? And now you got to rescue some dumb, dizzy broad that's unfair driving a Cadillac and freaking runs out of gas.
That's so funny.
So we talked, and I appreciated them so much. And it's scary because it's literally 2 lanes and they put their life on the line for me. They're standing out there. Some idiot could have, driven by to hit them and they could have went flying off the bridge. I mean, you hear about these crazy stories all the time. So no matter what it is, take a breath. Just breathe and say, okay, what can I do? All right, universe, God, Buddha, whoever it is, what can I do to slow my ends and my thoughts down right now? Because I do. I have to. This isn't the way it was supposed to go, but maybe it is.
Yeah.
And I haven't been all that way, but I've had to learn. This has been such a learning process. It doesn't come easy. And so gratitude. I high five myself all the time.
That's definitely like an area that I can be better at, right? Especially in the hustle and bustle of being a business owner. There are fires happen all the time, and Joe and Sean. So Joe and I actually we worked at a premium retailer together in like the industry. We worked for Verizon, right? And I was trying to ignore the name, but anyway. So
Telecommunications specialist. Yeah.
Telecommunications specialist, and he was like when everything was on fire. Joe was always that cool, calm, collective guy. Same thing with Sean. Now, Sean and I are both kind of each other's like cool, calm, collective because we both can't be mad at the same time. One of us has to be calm. But I know when Sean gets mad because his fuse is huge, right? But I know when Sean's mad, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I had a reason to be mad too. Like that's definitely a thing. But my mom uses this reference. So she's a huge basketball fan. My grandfather played professional basketball in the Philippines. So she always gives me sports references, and she always uses the term pivot. Always uses the term pivot, and I hear it used all the time. And it's basically like in basketball, once you stop dribbling, you can only move one foot, but one foot has to stay there, right? That's your goal.
Mhm.
That's your main goal. You can move in 360 degrees, but no matter what, it always comes back to that same goal, your bigger purpose, right?
Right.
So, what would you like? What would you define success on that side of things? Like, and how has that changed over time?
I was at my mom's wake, and it was in April, and it was hot out. And the room was coming in on me. I mean, literally coming in on me, just people coming in. It was stressful. This was probably one of my biggest pivots. And probably everybody's going, what the fuck is she doing? I stopped the wake, because back then it was 20 something years ago. You were there a long period of time. And I said to everybody, when we were feeling overwhelmed, my mom used to take us for ice cream. I said, there's an ice cream place across the street. And I said, anybody who wants to come, let's go have ice cream. And in the middle of her wake, I took everybody across the street and did ice cream. And that was a pivot. So, success. Success is very intimate. Not intimate like sex. Just because it begins with an S doesn't mean, sex, success. No. It's
We're
people
we're
laugh.
we're in our 30s. That's success for us. We
And let me tell you, I'm in my 60s. That's success for me. Um,
Oh,
oh my God. Okay. So pull your shit together. Success is very intimate, and everybody has success in different ways. What is success for me was not necessarily success for the person that I worked for. And that's one of the reasons why I walked away from a very successful, high level paying CEO, team leader job with Keller Williams. It was great. I did it for over 16 years. But their idea of success and my idea were two different things. Whether you're in a relationship with an employer, or you're an independent contractor, or you're a mom or dad, or you're a teenager or whatever, you got to feel it in your heart. The success is measured by the joy you feel when you go, yes, I did that. Or I'm going to do it.
I love
believe
that.
me.
So
That
what did success look like when you were 20? Where did you see yourself ending up? What was success to you then?
ugh, which part? I mean,
Whether what business, financially, for me, I've always known that I was gonna be a family man. That was my version of success, and I know Sean is on the
Yeah.
same level. Joe, like we're all very family oriented. Um, Having a wife and a kid, kids, multiple, right? I want 5 to thrive is what I tell my wife. Yeah, we're at 3 right now, so I gotta get my shit together. Is I gotta fix this attitude.
Wow.
Yeah.
He just froze. You better freeze on that one, I'll tell you. Yeah. So success has been different things for me on many different levels. When I was successful in my 20s, I am going to say that it was, I got a job at American Airlines. So I went to work for American Airlines, and when I passed my training for American, that was my first major success. To be able to say, yes, you got hired. You're in Dallas, Texas at the time for 3 weeks. I literally went through 2 popes during that time. I think one died and then another died. I mean, it was like crazy stuff. Um, this and the success for me, that was one of my biggest career successes. I always wanted children, right? And unfortunately, I had endometriosis, and this is a really good subject because I I I have friends who want babies and they can't have them. And that doesn't mean you're not complete. That doesn't mean you're not successful. Why are you judging yourself? And I'm not saying you guys are wrong, but like you want 5 more kids, Brent, right? I mean, not 5 more. But if you don't have them, you're you're complete. So when I couldn't get pregnant, when I had a miscarriage and I couldn't get pregnant, I never, well, like, trust me, we tried. Um, I didn't know this could be a second one. Yeah. Tried a lot. Um, okay, moving on. Um, I need to take a drink. So again, I had to make that decision. Um, I had a friend of mine who was a neighbor and was reprimanding their daughter. And I'm sure when they said this to me, they didn't know how it was going to, there's a bug. Um, they didn't know how it was going to impact me. And I suggested something. Now, in my mind, I think I was right in what I was suggesting. And I think that, you know, but the snap back was, well, you're not a parent. How would you know? My whole character, everything about me, right then and there in that moment. And she's a friend of mine to this day. But was I being judged on my opinion because I wasn't a parent? But maybe I could see something because I wasn't in that moment right then. So when we look at success, I had to make a decision on success that as not being, I'm okay. I'm not less successful because I don't have children. Sometimes I look at it now and say, what a blessing. It was a success that that we didn't have children because he died of alcoholism. Maybe we would have passed that gene along. It ran in his family. My grandfather was an alcoholic. His mom was an alcoholic. So I'm looking at it now, reflecting back and saying it was such a success that we didn't have children. But the success, like I said, it's very intimate. And it is that feeling of, yes, whether, you got a raise, you finished that project, You got outside and walked for a day and walked a little bit further than you thought you could, or you did the dishes just because you could and you never do it for your spouse. So
Did
you
my wife
don't,
call you?
yeah, she did.
I was just about to say, Brent.
So, I had a great success last night. Brett happened to be on the phone with me. I was with a friend having dinner. That to me was a success. That was the perfect night. Had nothing to do with money. It had to do with time. It had to do with cooking, making cookies. It had to do with an opinion that he gave me that was so right, Brent. We had not looked at my logo in the way that somebody else did. So that was success last night, that somebody helped me with a business problem, but the success was multi-layered, enjoying a fabulous meal. And as he puts it, living in the now. And having someone remind me to live in the now. So success is a lot of things to many people. I try not to judge my success financially, because that can be gone in an instant. We all been there when we can't even afford to buy a cup of coffee. Let's face it, right? Am I the only one that's questioned on whether I should spend $5 out of Starbucks or $2 on a cup of coffee? So I really believe that success is that feeling of joy in your heart that isn't a monetary thing. Gotta give it long-winded answers here.
No,
I love that.
we love it. We love it. And I think that's important for our audience to hear, for us to hear, because right now we are in a we're in hustle mode. Like we're all 30. We're all over 30 now. And
Oh, you guys are freaking old. Yeah, that's it. You're like over.
but there is like the mindset of like being 20. It was like, I've got time. I've got a little time. And
So wait a minute. That's a
no,
fucking limited belief.
no, I know. Hold on, I'll finish. Let me elaborate. I'll show you. So being 20, I was saying, and see, this is why you should go to coaching with Peggy, because she is going to call you on your shit. But that when I was 20, I was like, oh, I've got time. But now I'm 30, and my mindset switched to where it's not like, hey, I want all of this. I want all of this money. Yes, I still want that, and I'm still
Money's good.
I'm
Yeah.
not where I want to be. Yeah, money. And there is a misconception around money where like too much money is bad. No, bad people with too much money is bad. But yeah, but people, yeah, and I think money just accentuates your character. And Sean and I live by this motto where like we just want to blow up and act like we don't know nobody. But it's true, and I think that's important, because now that like I've got 3 kids now, and like little man was just in here earlier, and like I hear my wife in the background calling him every couple minutes or so, where it's just like, hey, come back here, but like those things don't, even if you were to walk in on this podcast right now, it's not the end of the world. It's
No.
like, hey, this is, because it's time. Time is what's now. Am I working a whole lot? And like, yes, I do need to find that balance. And Joe's a new parent. He just had a little girl. How old is she now? She a couple weeks, right?
Wow.
She's 3 weeks.
3
What's
weeks.
her name?
Kiana Nohealani. Yeah.
Beautiful, right?
Part Hawaiian,
Congratulations.
so Nohealani.
I figured. Are you going for 4 more? Are you
Oh,
keeping up
no. I just need
with Brent?
one boy to hold the name, to my
No,
legacy.
It could be 5 more.
It could be, if we get another girl, definitely
But
gotta
wait
try
a minute.
again.
Okay, I'm going to take. Are you open to a bit of coaching for a moment, Joe?
Me? Absolutely.
Give it to him. Give it to him good.
Yeah, get him, Peggy.
So you just said, that little boy. So is that how you're going to keep the name going, right? And I know how important that is to family, and I don't care if you're from Hawaii, Italy, Ireland, whatever, that family name is so important. So I want to ask you, if you don't have that little boy, are you going to feel that you're not successful in carrying your family name on?
Not in any way. I mean, honestly, I say that it's more of a joke.
Okay. Because I have a friend and her son, he and his wife are having their third child. He didn't take it very well when he found out it was a girl. He didn't take it very well at all. So sometimes we joke, but we joke because it's what hurts and what's really
Yeah, that's how I would feel.
inside. So I just had to call your shit on it. You made that statement.
I have 2 girls, and I just had my first boy, and that was why I was so excited, because my girls are going to be the woman of a house one day. They're gonna have their own family to take care of under another man's name. But my boy gets to carry this on. So I'm the last Larson, right? And to me, that
I'm the last Jones.
yeah, and me carrying that name on, and now would it have affected me? Probably not, but it does feel a little bit better. I'm not gonna lie, but that's a good point. Like, I've never even thought about that. But guess we'll never know.
Well, because
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have children. My 2 brothers didn't have children. So we're family without any grandchildren.
Yeah.
And would that have defined my parents? Because all their friends were like, "Oh, Margaret, you don't have grandchildren. How come you don't have grandchildren?" Blah, 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 blah. That's shit.
Mm-hmm.
It annoys me that people say things, and not that you said that about the, and Joe, I hope you know I'm just
Oh, no,
going
no.
back.
You're
Don't
in
worry.
trouble.
But this is exactly what I'm talking about, is things that we say. Like my girlfriend saying to me, "Stay out of it. You don't have kids. What would you know?" Well, I know a fucking hell of a lot more, because your daughter talks to me and tells me the things she's not telling you. And I can kind of guide you and give you a little higher information here.
Yeah.
So I just believe, and I've seen it, and I do this too with stories. We joke and we'll say, "Ha ha, baba," but in the back it's that, "Oh my God, what if?" So before it eats at you, it eats at you. Just
I think I kind of have a question for you. I think that throughout, like, one, I want to thank you for the story
For
about
calling Joe out on his shit.
Yeah.
also that. Also
I'm
that.
gonna take some serious thought about that, Peggy. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Oh, go ahead, Sean. Sorry.
It was a story you were telling me about when you're at the funeral. I got complete goosebumps when you were telling that story. I think that just shows kind of how authentic you are, and like in such a real moment in life. But my question is, it seems to be a theme throughout all of your stories that in every moment you're showing up with a mindset that's growing you. And I think, like, for me in those moments, there's some kind of fear, or there's some kind of, I don't know, maybe negative truth about myself, or maybe there's some kind of anger. But instead of falling victim to those things, you're immediately switching it and like immediately having a winning mindset. And I want to know, like, how are you picking one path over the other? How are you able to make the right decision there? Because I struggle with that at times. I'll fall into the wrong decision and eventually pick myself up and get to the right one. But how are you making the right decision every time that you're falling into these choices?
Here's where you guys are blessed. You were in your 30s. If I had the exposure to all the different people that you get to have during your podcasts, and BJ with your different clients and things like that, you guys should have so much gratitude. You are so far above the learning curve of life. And my mom, it's a religious thing, and I'm not very religious. I'm very spiritual, but I'm not really religious. What just came to mind was my mom always said, "Turn the other cheek." And I recently had to do that with my brother, that he came back in my life, and then he died. But it's a lot of bumps. I still don't have it mastered at all. I have my moments where I break down, where I cry, where I make up stories in my head or whatever. That's
Yeah.
always going to happen.
Yeah.
What I have now when I want to pour into you guys and to people that I coach with, or the people that are on my Wake Up Wednesdays, is that we don't have to live that other way. If we only stop and listen and stop talking, the tools are there for us. We have so much more in this day and age. And you guys, again, having great guests, having things pour in, just kind of stop and don't think you have all the answers. And when that feeling comes, take a breath, just and ask yourself, is that really true? Is that really 100% true? If you can't say it's 100% true, then I kind of go, okay. But it takes a lot of practice and a lot of breakdowns. And yeah, I'm really glad you asked that because, it happens. And if I'm really in a slump, I have my 5 friends that I can call. It was that. I am blessed with many, many girlfriends and a shit ton of male friends. I've always had more male friends than female friends because the male guys don't bullshit you. But I know who I can call for certain situations. So I have my go-to people.
Yep.
And I phone a friend who's not going to bullshit me. So thank you for asking me. BJ, you better not blow smoke up his ass.
Oh no. Yeah, Sean knows. Sean knows. Sean and I have had and vice versa. Sean and I have had some very intense conversations, that's for sure. And like that I will literally pace around my driveway on the phone with Sean for 2 hours because I'm like
I've done
I'm
yeah.
yeah, and I'll stay there and all of a sudden like yesterday we were on the phone for how long? Do you an hour and a half or so? And he was at the gym. He's like, 1 second. Her. Yeah, so what were we talking about?
I think what I've learned to love is that he's learned to gracefully tell me I'm a piece of shit. And that's been really good. Like to show up for me as that friend, like I need that. You know what I mean?
I think it's always out of a place of love. Yeah, it's always out of a place of love. Yeah.
Just because it comes from love doesn't mean it's not going to hurt, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it hurts
Hurts
more.
more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe, who do you go to?
Who do I go to? Oh no, I don't need help. I'm perfect. Don't worry. No, I'm kidding. My girl, probably. Or Brent sometimes, even.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like to
He's
leave
good
that.
at that.
Do you, there's an ancient Hawaiian prayer release visualization called, I don't want to butcher it, Ho'oponopono.
Oh, I'm not Hawaiian. I'm not. My
I
girl
thought
is my girl is Hawaiian. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
ask her if she knows a Ho'oponopono.
Honopono. Okay.
A Ho'oponopono. And this has really, really, really helped me over the past 5 or 6 years. And BJ, I'll get it to you. You basically go a little bit into meditation. And sometimes I don't like to say meditation because people think, oh, that's woo-woo shit. Okay. So you just go into a calm space, close your eyes, and you envision a stage. And anybody that you have touched, whether, physically, mentally, emotionally, saw them in the store, flipped them off on the highway, work people, whatever, you have everybody who you want to come up on the stage. And then if there's one person that you feel you're having a problem with, you talk to that person individually. And then basically this white light is there. You cut off all the ties and you say this little forgiveness. I'll just take the main excerpt from it. It's, I forgive you. You forgive me. Well, when I first started doing that, I was like, I fucking forgive them. What? Why am I saying I forgive you? You forgive me.
Yeah.
What? So doing that almost every single night for over 2 years,
Yeah.
religiously. That was a lesson in humility. and gratitude and getting shit out of my head, because I really was, I ain't forgiving you. You don't even know, you're not here. I want you up on stage, so I'm visualizing you forgiving me. But the first words are, I forgive you. You forgive me.
That's great. What would you say if like a certain person starts to just pop up a little bit more? Like you're just like, man, I'm having this conversation frequently.
So, my husband, after his death, because and my mother, and my dad, and my brother, I've had to release a lot of that, and it's very, very hard to be mad at somebody who's dead. I mean,
Yeah.
you could be mad at them for dying, but then how do you deal with these issues? So, I've done a lot of release work. I've done some very intense release work with some coaches who are at a higher level on the NLP. I think that the person who keeps coming up, you got to deal with that. You have to really ask. Journaling. I mean, BJ knows I've got a book that we're putting together.
We're working on that too.
We're
Let's
working
go.
on that. It's the past 365 days, and there's a lot of shit in that book. There's a lot. And I'm working on a TEDx talk, and my TEDx talk is going to be He Died Anyways. Now, that may not be enough to grab the attention that you need on the TEDx talk, but that's been the whole thing. No matter what I did, he died. And so his name was Michael. Called him Mike. Mike kept coming up on the stage, and quite honestly, I didn't want to forgive him. Abandonment issues, relationship. I gave you my life. I didn't get divorced. I was with him since I was 18. I am fucking loyal beyond loyal.
Yeah.
That is a double-edged sword. It really is. And so when you have that coming up, and I'm using this as an example because my heartstrings were attached, and I didn't necessarily do the right thing by staying. There was a lot of enabling going on. I thought I was doing the right thing. I had to forgive myself. So when you're doing that, you've got to be able to forgive yourself. And I didn't know that I needed to forgive myself for enabling him. I didn't know that I probably should have let him go. I didn't want to let him go because, God damn it, I'm not getting divorced. I'm not going to be one of those divorced people who gives up on their marriage and blah, 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 blah. Like, I made up all these stories. Well, maybe sometimes it's okay to get divorced.
Yeah.
I was judging. And now I see it as, I can't judge someone because they're divorced. It's just like you can't judge someone because they don't have kids. That person who's able to leave a marriage or relationship or whatever, if they've tried everything that they can, it is, it's your own mind. It's your own mind on what you want to do. But to be able to forgive others and move forward, you got to be able to forgive yourself.
Absolutely.
I love that.
I've had to forgive myself. And I said this in the little quick story I sent you guys. I had sprinkled my husband's ashes, but I had a majority of them. And I didn't realize that by not totally releasing them, I was still...
Yeah, you're holding on.
I was holding on really tight. And then the other thing that I was holding on to were my dining room chairs. I have moved them from Connecticut to California. I moved them to many different places in Connecticut. Then I moved them to California. Then I just moved them to Florida. I was literally going to move those dining room chairs back. And I had a moment where I said, I need to release this. Because what they represented for dinners and gatherings and celebrations. And oh my gosh, I saved so long for these Ethan Allen solid wood cherry chairs. They were like one of my biggest purchases. And that's, when I had one of those moments, like I got my dining room furniture, that was a success for me. And because that was such a big investment and a success, I didn't want to let that go, right? So sometimes we hold on to moments of success that no longer serve us. So, sorry, letting go of the ashes and then letting go of the chairs was so symbolic to me. So I would ask you, what is something in your life that represented success at one time? My dining room chairs, right? Being able to get those chairs. And then had to be released because that success, that purchase, that thing that made me so happy wasn't servicing me, wasn't serving a purpose anymore.
Do you think that do you think that some of those things that you're releasing can even just be like ideas? You know what I mean? Like at one point, like becoming maybe like having a dream, right? Like becoming a firefighter might be like your extreme idea of success. You know what I mean? And then at some point it no longer serves you anymore. And so you let go of it and just releasing that, you know what I mean? Being your idea of a dream, if you will. Yeah, this is like a very, very new thing for me, but it just, I don't know, it connected with the idea of like, you know what I mean? You had those chairs and like those chairs were a version of success. And like just very recently, I had this idea of what success was going to look like in my life. And a part of that life was going to be a firefighter. And just very recently, I had one of those pivot moments in my life where I'm facing these obstacles, right? And it's like, if I don't meet this standard of what I think success is in my life, which is becoming a firefighter right now, I need to drop those chairs, right? Which is this ideal version of what a dream life looks for Sean. You know what I mean? So that's just very recently in the last couple of months, dropping some chairs for me was dropping a dream. You know what I mean? And sometimes that can be painful, you know what I mean? And that sucks. And it's like, you feel like you failed that, you know what I mean? Because you were so heavily connected to it, so tied into that dream or that version of success for yourself. So like, I don't know, just dropping that drink really connected with me as far as you dropping those chairs, you know what I mean?
Wow. That,
And they were
I feel
Ethan
like
Allen chairs too. That is,
they were even,
yeah,
they were
yeah,
like so freaking expensive back then in the day. And that was dragging around. I was never going to use those chairs again. I was dragging around something that I thought was so successful. I bought this furniture. I have to keep it. It was so symbolic.
yeah.
But what I've learned and what I want you, recognize too, Sean, I truly believe that when we open things up, that things come to us in so much more of abundance.
Yeah.
I believe, Sean, and I know this to be true, there's something so much fucking greater that's going to be there for you. And for whatever that dream carried you for so long, don't let it like go, oh, I don't know if I can do it. Just like, okay, I can manifest anything. Proven fact, I am one of the best manifestors out there. I know there's something else that's there. And if it's not the firefighter thing, there's going to be something so much better and bigger and more purposeful. I mean, the fact that you want to be a firefighter and putting your life on the line for people is so heroic. And I think, hey, the purpose in your life now is going to be way beyond the firefighter. And you can't let that story define you. There's never failure. We're always moving forward. And John Maxwell's book, Failing Forward, changed my life. I would say that if I hadn't read that, at least 12 years ago, that was a time in my life where I wasn't a failure anymore. You know, you failed, you got an F, you did this, your brother got better grades, or you got better grades, or, you know, whatever you were defined as. My friends thought I was a failure because I didn't have kids. I mean, literally, we have to stop judging ourselves with that F. We are not failures. We're fucking fabulous. We're fucking fabulous. We're fucking fantastic.
We are.
You know?
We are.
So we are. And when you guys get to your fucking 40s, look out, world. Because
Joe's about to be there.
I'll be in my sexy 70s.
There you go.
Yeah. All right.
So
Let's go.
I love the analogy. Stop dragging around the fucking dining room chairs. Dinner's over.
Is that a chapter that we're putting in the book, Peggy?
Yes.
Yeah, let go. Let go. Drop the chairs. You give a story
Drop
about the chairs. Drop the chairs, you know. And that's really true though, because so I had a not really my uncle, but I'm Filipino, so everybody's an uncle, but he was my karate instructor growing up since I was 3. And he ended up unaliving himself. And there was like the song by Christina something, 1,000 Years, right? That song was playing, just one song on loop the whole time. It was one song that I couldn't listen to for the longest time until, you know, I did have to just like let go, accept kind of what was going on. More like of course we keep pictures, you know, things like that. But it was a I don't know, my like watching, and like I was 20, 21 or so when this happened, but that was my dad's best friend. So watching him have trinkets and memorials and even the belts we wore, right? All of the trophies and things, like you just look, you're like, oh my gosh, you know, but there was we did have to come to peace at one point, right? And holding on to that. And I really like I really like that chairs analogy, because whatever your chair is, you have to let it go. If you're not sitting on it, you know, if you're not sitting on that chair, it's got to go. There's not enough room. And there's not enough time. There's not enough time to continue to think back on things. Like we've all had some type of traumatic thing happen, multiple traumatic things happen in our life that could have been that defining moment where that is the moment where you're like, okay, well, guess this is who I am now. I'm just this depressed person. I don't know where I heard it, but I heard somewhere that and honestly, it might have been some wisdom from Sean, but if you can be mad for a moment, you can be sad for a moment, right? And that's like my parents have always been big on that. Like go sit in your mood. That's fine. But if you sit in that mood for too long, it becomes your character. And then, you know, I remember my mom telling me when I was a kid, like, you're going to be this grumpy old man, all because, you know, whatever, I probably didn't take out the garbage or, you know, something silly. But you're just going to be this grumpy old man because you're letting a mood define you, and that will then become your character, you know. And I was like, oh, okay. It didn't make sense then. It didn't make sense for a teenager who hasn't explored life yet. But now it's like, okay, just let it go. And I could still preach to myself on that. Like I do have a hard time like getting out of my moods. Like it's easy to just be like, bro, just be happy. That's fine, you know. But like sometimes like let me be I don't believe in the zodiac signs or anything like that, but apparently cancers are crybabies. So yeah, but I don't believe in it. I don't believe in the zodiac signs. I believe in the God that created the stars. I don't look at those things, but I can be a crybaby, that's for sure. And I got a little bit of a sore throat right now, and I've had a couple lozenges. Yeah, I always, and yeah, and for anybody that knows me, I'm always wearing a hoodie, so I always have my sleeve, and you won't find my emotions too far from those. So, yeah. So, but
And I never let my emotions show. Ever.
no, and that is one thing. Like you are a tough cookie. You are one tough cookie. I know that for sure.
I try all the time.
Peggy and I have been on multiple calls. Like we were on the phone yesterday, and I was just checking in. I hadn't heard from her for a while, just wishing her a happy Thanksgiving. And she was like, "Perfect, back to business. So here's what I'm doing right? And I commend you on your ability to call yourself out on your own on your own shit sometimes. And not even necessarily that, but more so being aware, cuz just like Sean said earlier, like at your mother's wake, it just was like an intuition to just go and get ice cream. There was like just those kinds of things, letting go of the chairs, being conscious of like, okay, I'm holding on to this thing, right? Well, this is a that's a I believe that it is a gift, but it can also be a learned skill, and it can become a habit where it's like, okay, I'm just more aware of my surroundings. I'm more aware of my emotions. I know when I'm in a bad mood. Like I've got ADHD like crazy. I'm scattered. So the fact that I haven't talked this much through this podcast is awesome. So I thank you for kind of taking over. Um, but at the end of the day, it's yeah, I have to set up these firewalls inside of my life to just keep myself together and make sure that I'm focused on one task and one task only. Like these sticky notes, I live by these things because they go on my computer and this is the one task that I'm going to be focusing on. But
I was about to say, I think it is something that's learned. It's never something that you just have, you have to go through experiences and, mess up and hold what you hold and let go of what you let go. But I don't think anybody's just starts with it. You know what I mean? I think it's something that
Right.
everyone learns.
so how do you teach this? So Peggy has a coaching program coming out this Friday. And if and all of the links and everything will be in the description. I'll make sure that we drop all of those in there. But who are you looking for? Because you've given a lot of wisdom thus far. Who is your ideal person? Because if you guys can't take a beating like Joe just took a beating from Peggy,
That was
no,
super light.
it wasn't
Yeah.
even close. It was super
Oh, we're
light. But
super light.
she
Oh,
was like, "Oh, you want some more?"
No, I mean,
Um, who is your ideal client? Where do you feel that
you guys, I'm starting with you. All of you better
yeah,
sign up.
perfect. Yeah, wait, do I
Oh,
have to sign up if I'm helping you make it?
no, I think we can work something out.
I'm gonna make myself a coupon code.
I'm gonna need that coupon code,
Great.
Brent.
I wanna dive into the Wake Up Wednesday side of things and really like where that got started because what Peggy is doing what Peggy's doing with Wake Up Wednesday, and I think I kind of gave you guys the lowdown on it before we jumped on this call, but what Peggy's doing with Wake Up Wednesday is game changing. So if you could just kind of elaborate where that started, how it started, and its purpose, because I definitely want to help you bring some people over there as well.
Wow. Okay. Now I'm like my energy is just like woo woo. Okay, let's go. So
Yeah.
I've known Gene Frederick for I don't know years, a long time. And funny story, Gene and I'll let him tell it, but briefly we met and he said to me, if you ever are in the area, stop by, blah, 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 kind of an open door. Somebody tells me to stop by, I'm coming over. So I was asked to go do a training in Annapolis. I called Gene to find out where should I stay because I didn't know the area of Virginia. He said, "Oh, you can come stay at our house." It was Columbus Day weekend. I don't know. He'll tell you 2 years later I left. I came for a weekend and stayed like forever. But Gene Frederick is very, very, very special to me. And he's been a mentor, a friend. He and his wife Susan and the rest of their family, they're my family. They really.
Can you explain who he is for the people that don't know
Oh,
who Gene Frederick
where
is?
do I begin? Gene Frederick has been a leader in the real estate industry for years. He was an icon figurehead at Keller Williams. He was one of the first agents. He had an office in Plano, Texas. He owned a franchise of maybe Realty Execs. I think it was Realty Execs, not Realty One. So he's been around for a long time, and his opinion matters to people. If you have a question on business, you're going to go ask Gene, and he's going to give you his honest opinion. So he was asked to take a look at the EXP real estate model. And that was 8 years ago. Elizabeth Riley did us all the biggest favor she could have ever done by asking for Gene's opinion. And he took a look at this model. There were 500 agents at it. And he went home and he told Susan that they owned Blockbuster. And they own 6 Blockbuster offices representing his market centers all around the country, and also a region, Northern California and Hawaii. And he had just found Netflix. So basically, he had to tell his wife that I'm selling everything. He had just kind of retired from the leadership role. He went there, told Susan that he was selling all of his franchises, and he saw EXP, a virtual cloud-based business, as the next wave of doing business, that everybody else was, old-fashioned. It wasn't traditional, and it expired. It was a model that wasn't good any longer. And he loved Keller Williams. We all loved it. No one is saying anything. It served a purpose along the way. So Gene takes a risk. He sells all of his offices. He sells his region. He doesn't get top dollar for them. And he joins EXP, and he starts talking about how he can change people's lives with this company. Now, I want to back up, because what a lot of people don't know, unless they've heard Gene and I talk, is that he was actually staying at our home in Rhode Island when he went to see Jason Gessing for the first time and talk about EXP. On that note, he was also one of the last people to see my husband alive. Gene was interviewing EXP, and he was staying with me. My husband was in the hospital, and he told me about this company. I could have been the number one agent to join him. It wasn't the right time, right, guys? So I had a loss going on in my life. I had so many things that I needed to deal with. And this is what I love about Gene, is that not only is a businessman, but he's a caring, unbelievably friend. I am so blessed to call him and Susan my friends, him and Susan. I'm so blessed to call Gene and Susan my friends, because even though I didn't come to EXP then, they didn't hold that against me. They didn't judge me. They loved me just the way I am, crazy. So Gene took the opportunity he took the risk. There was an opportunity and a risk. And he decided, even though he was sitting on those chairs at KW for 20 years, he needed some new chairs, right? He was able to let everything go. He was able to, Susan was like, these are our friends, these are our family, all of that. And Gene said, no, we have to do this. And so because of Gene Frederick taking that risk, he was able to attract agents from all over the world, all over the country. And our company is now 90,000 plus agents. So people actually call Gene Papa. He's like the godfather of EXP.
I've heard that many times in the community. A lot of the agents I work with are from EXP.
He saw the vision. He was willing to stand up and take the risk for all of us. And even though it took me 4 years at least to go there, because I had other things going on in my life, that's one thing I want people. I'm really glad you brought this up. When I coach people, it doesn't mean no. It just means maybe not right now. And even though so many people, Gene will tell you, 10 of his closest friends said no to them going to EXP, we all eventually came, and we all said yes. And he didn't judge us. That's a leader. So to have Gene Frederick as my mentor, and to be able to ask to be on his leadership team, I want to emulate Gene. So I want people to know that I'm not just there because I need people to grow under EXP and I need to recruit. Well, we attract. It's a big difference. I can talk about that another time. So what Gene has done for this company is he's introduced and he's never given up on us, whether we were with him or not. And that's really what leaders do. So given the opportunity to be part of Gene's leadership team, I wanted to do something different because there's a lot of coaches and they're all great. And again, everybody's got their own style, right? You guys have your own media style, whatever we all bring to the table. But again, it comes to that joy, that success, that feeling in our heart that makes it just unfucking believable. And so, Gene said to me, being the leader, you say to people, okay, what do you want to do? I said, I want a different type of Zoom. I want to do a talk show because don't forget, my dream was to replace Barbara Walters. Yeah. And that's okay that I didn't replace her because I got a great life, it's okay. But what I am doing is impacting other people's lives in a very informal, come as you are, wake up Wednesday. When I started it, it was 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central, and 6 a.m. Pacific. Never in my wildest dreams, because I live in Florida, did I think I was going to be having to get up at 5 a.m. and prep for this. But every Wednesday morning, man, I jump out of bed. Last week, I got home at 1 o'clock in the morning from flying from the East Coast. I was on 2 hours sleep, but I couldn't wait to do my Wake Up Wednesday. And it is a group of people. You don't necessarily have to be at EXP. Anyone is invited. And we talk about real life. We talk about what's holding you back. We talk about how you're going to get off go. We talk about how do we uncover everything. So it's come as you are. It is ZoomPeggy.com. It is informative. It's sometimes structured, but not really. It's let's talk about today, or let's dig down and talk about what's really happening. What are the stories? What are the chairs that you're holding on to? So that's about, I don't know, the best kind of way I can describe it. It's taken off. 2 weeks ago, we had a person who was in the south of France as one of our speakers. This week, I am speaking, and I have to look. Here it is. We did business planning, and then last week we did, is your mind in a business planning mode? And so this week I'm speaking, and I'm talking about, so what are the life lessons of 2023? What worked for you? Because again, it's all about mindset, right? If we're not going to be able to get our mindset wrapped around, we're not going to be able to do a business plan because we don't know what's holding us back. So what are the life lessons in 2023 that are going to bring you into 2024? Or what are the life lessons that you are holding on to that may not be serving you anymore, right?
It is.
So what are your and this is our fourth question. I know you got to get going. I appreciate all of the value and stuff that you've given us, but real quick, what are your daily non-negotiables? What is something that you do every single day? I know journaling is a huge part of that for you.
My daily non-negotiables. Wow. I did peek at that question, and that's when I said, no, we're not. I need to do this more spontaneous. Telling myself I love myself.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Giving myself a high five, because it really starts with me. It starts with you. If your joy is coming from hugging your kids, saying good morning to your wife, emptying the dishwasher, doing something for others. But because I've had so many stories for so long in my head, it's giving myself permission. It's giving myself permission to have feelings. It's giving myself permission to say no. There used to be this thing like, oh, you got to say yes to everything. Fuck that shit. I'm saying yes to everything. That gets you into trouble, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I attest.
Mhm. Look what I did. I said yes to moving to Florida. This whole thing's costing probably $100,000, but and I can look at it that I did something totally ridiculous, or I can look at it that I needed to do that to learn that when I decided to move back to California, I wasn't moving those chairs again. Because if I had stayed in California, those freaking chairs would be still in my garage, all stacked up with all those memories of, oh, I'm going to have a fabulous dinner and everything. I had a freaking fabulous dinner last night at somebody else's chairs. You know,
I love that.
we have to we have to mark that one down. And that's what I'm being open to. Yeah, I did. I really did.
Yeah.
So it's being okay with Peggy is non-negotiable. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have a size 2 body, guys. You know what? I look at these women here or there or magazines or TV or whatever. I am me. I got to look myself in the mirror and I have to tell myself I love myself and high five myself because there were too many years that I spent trying to please everybody else. Living with an alcoholic is chaos. You are constantly dodging bullets, having plan A, plan B, plan this, plan that. And I'm going to take a lesson from my friend last night who said to me, you're always trying to plan. Why can't you live in the now, right now? And I've thought a lot about this, and because I never gave myself permission to calm down and relax because I always was waiting for the bomb or the shoe to drop. So living in the now was very scary because when you're with an alcoholic or substance abuse or whatever that unstable person is that's occupying your space at the time, your back is always up. You're always tight. So I'm giving myself permission. It's non-negotiable not to breathe. I have to be able to breathe. The other thing I do is I listen to meditation. I'm not plugging Peloton. I don't have a Peloton bike, but I have their app. And for me, that investment of whatever it is a month, I listen to the best meditations and I stay present in those. So, yeah, those are things that are non-negotiable.
And then last question, and this is always our last question. What does the term get off go mean to you?
Get off my fucking ass and stop making excuses. Because if I don't get off go, I'm in fucking jail, right?
There you
And
go.
how many times are people going around that board collecting all these really cool things? And I'm just like getting ready to get ready. Stop getting ready to get ready. Get off, go and go. Who cares? There's no failure. You know, you're going to learn from whatever you do. So get your ass off, go. And you're missing things.
You are awesome. You are so awesome. We appreciate you so much. I know that you have to get on to another coaching call right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Peggy's, it's Friday, right? That's launch day.
Yeah, I guess that's what you're saying. I hire you to manage my, okay, we're launching on Friday.
We're launching on Friday.
I'm getting off go.
Yeah, our conversation yesterday was she was just like, I'm launching it this week. I don't give a shit what we have to do. And I was like, cool. Let's just
that
get off go.
My book is going to be all edited. My TEDx talk is kind of my logo is being finalized, and yeah.
I love that. So, last thing, can you plug your Instagram for us? Where can people reach out to you if they are interested in the coaching?
Coaching Happy Agents is what I do. Yeah, that's my Instagram.
That is on Instagram, and be sure to check her out. She has a lot of value. I'm telling you, if you're looking for this kind of accountability and you're not looking just for a coach, this is who you need to go to, because she has a loving soul, but she needs, and it all comes from the place of you need to get up and go. You need to get off, go.
Got to get off, go.
Yeah, you have to get in the game. You have to get in the game, and I like to say that even the worst dice roll is snake eyes. That's a 2. You're already ahead 2 spaces. So go ahead, roll the dice,
Roll the dice.
ladies and gentlemen. Roll the dice and definitely invest in yourself.
You guys,
all right?
thank you. I mean,
Thank you,
this
Peggy.
has
Thank you.
been
Thank you.
awesome.
You're awesome, Peggy.